like the balance that they had in race.
Casey Kane, we congratulate him, his third career pole.
It's all three Hendrick Motorsports in the front.
There's a few movers and shakers out there.
To victory lane is Joey Logano.
Get the inside line on who's fast and who's last before setting your NASCAR fantasy race team this weekend. This is the Inside Line on MRN.com, presented by Hercules Tires. Now, here are your fantasy experts, Robbie Mays and Tyler Burnett.
It's the Monster Energy NASCAR All-Star Race happening at Charlotte Motor Speedway this weekend. And we're here on the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show to get you up to speed on everything happening in fantasy racing. Rich Culbreth, Robbie Mays, I'm Tyler Burnett. We're here to talk pretty much anything we want to talk about, guys. Leaving the Kansas Speedway, what an interesting race. We saw Martin Truex Jr. win his second this year.
Yeah.
Just your thoughts leaving Kansas?
First of all, before we move forward, Eric Almirola, get well, buddy. We're thinking about you and your family and everybody at Richard Petty Motorsports. I was intrigued by that race, guys. I thought you had a couple of players in that race, in Ryan Blaney and Martin Truex Jr., a heck of a battle going down to the wire for that thing. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was one of the better races we've seen this year. The last couple of races we've had on mile-and-a-half racetracks at Texas and at Kansas last week, they've been pretty interesting.
I thought it was an exciting race. In fact, I've always wanted for the longest time in NASCAR to see these guys working hard to win the race, and that's what we saw on Saturday night. It's those guys just working that wheel. In spite of that bad crash with Eric Almirola, that was a fantastic race. You saw your favorite driver out there really wheeling that car around the Kansas Speedway, and that track has aged very well.
Yes, it has. Definitely. It has. We didn't have any major, like tire issues weren't a problem. We had loose wheels. That was a big story throughout the course of the night on Saturday night, and the guy who finished second and the guy who finished third both had loose wheels, and they came back to finish in the top five, in Brad Keselowski and Kevin Harvick.
Speaking of working hard, I worked pretty hard on my fantasy team last week.
Shut up, Tyler.
As I was 8 hours in the passport line trying to get a passport, I set my fantasy team that rocketed to 20th in the league last week out of 3,000.
Beefcake.
So, I had a pretty good day last week. Where'd you finish, Rich?
I think it was 600. It was around 600.
That's good.
But I tell you, and I knew you were going to bring this up, but there's an old saying. Yeah, I know, but there's an old saying that the sun shines on a monkey's butt every once in a while.
I don't think
and
that's
I believe
the word.
And I believe that's what. Yeah, but I believe that's what happened this past weekend with you. You sent me a text earlier on Saturday saying, should I start Jimmy Johnson or Kevin Harvick? And I said, you need to start Jimmy Johnson. I'm starting Jimmy Johnson, and that was the right choice up until probably 20 laps to go.
Yeah.
Here's a guy that had problems. Okay, first of all, 3 different times in the race, he went from back to the front. 3 different times. Now, thanks to Kurt Busch, he ended up not having a very good finish. But starting in the 30th or 31st position, he got all those passing points. When he was taken out of the race, he was in the top 5. It was a great pick. Obviously, it didn't work out. So your lucky pick, you decided to go opposite. Now I tell you, let me ask you this. Now your strategy, and you've told me this many times, that you like to go with the opposite. You like to go with the opposite of what I get. So I certainly hope when I start Martin Truex Jr. next week for the Coca-Cola 600 that you're going to go with someone different. Now, are you going to do that? Because that's been your philosophy, going with the opposite. Now, again, that's going to work for you. No, that's going to work every single time. 9 times out of 10, that's not going to work.
No, but look, I picked the difference of 2 value picks. Kevin Harvick, I sent you the text message. I screenshotted the tweet from Harvick. And said, we had a pole-winning car, and I messed up the lap and qualified 8th. That's why I started Kevin Harvick. Not because Jimmy Johnson was a great value pick until, of course, he wrecked, which isn't my fault that he wrecked.
No, it's not your fault that he wrecked. And it was a lucky guess that you went with the other guy. Yeah.
All right. Anyways,
absolutely.
we got to sell some Busch beer here.
You guys done?
Yes, we're done. Let's go to break. It's almost the refreshing time of day. And speaking from experience, I can tell you, Busch O'Clock, a time for relaxing and unwinding with friends and family over a crisp, cold Busch beer. Busch's roots are in racing, but whether you're enjoying the race or going fishing, nothing is better than when it's time to relax than a crisp, cold Busch. It's Busch O'Clock, so grab a 6-pack of Busch beer for the cooler. Start the grill and relax. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Busch Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
If it's time to replace your vehicle's battery, stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and take advantage of our exclusive Do It Right rebate. For a limited time, purchase a Superstart Premium, Extreme, or Platinum battery and get up to a $15 O'Reilly gift card by mail. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better prices every day. Limit supply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Live sports are the one true reality entertainment, where a single dramatic moment can become timeless. In NASCAR, Motor Racing Network's live broadcast elevates your senses to the sights, sounds, and struggles taking place on the racetrack.
Danica Patrick to the front of the field at Talladega. They are side by side behind her. Jimmy Johnson.
The power of radio to the imagination of the listener. Tune in to the Motor Racing Network. Visit MRN.com for an affiliate list in your local area.
Country 500 Music Festival is back with Blake Shelton, Miranda Lambert,
You can't ride in my little red wagon.
Kid Rock, Keith Urban, Thomas Rhett, plus Brooks and Dunn, Hank Williams Jr., Jake Owen, and so much more. Memorial Day weekend at Daytona International Speedway. Single day tickets on sale now. Visit country500.com. Sponsored in part by Budweiser. Let's talk more fantasy racing on the Inside Line.
All right, let's grab the reins of the show back. Coming up today on MRN.com, the Monster Energy All-Star Race practice is coming up at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Practice? We don't need a practice for the All-Star Race. Later, it's All-Star Race qualifying at 6 p.m., and then the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, North Carolina Education Lottery 200 at 8 p.m. Say that twice. All right, so that's what's coming up today.
North Carolina Education Lottery 200 at 8 p.m.
All right. Anyways, let's talk about the All-Star Race since we've already kind of put a bow on Kansas. Rich and I had an argument as to why I was better than him last week. The All-Star Race, what do you guys think of it?
I like the fact that it's elimination format. It's kind of like a little, idea of what the whole season's like too. It comes down to a certain number of drivers, not everybody at the end of the deal. And at the end of the night, somebody's going to take home $1 million, which still is a lot of money.
A lot of money to you.
It's a lot of money to me. I still think it's a lot of money. Yes, thank you. I like the format. I like what we're doing this year. We're trying new things, which is cool. There you see the format up on the screen right there. 4 segments, 20, 20, 20, and 10. 10 drivers advance to stage 4. And of course, $1 million goes to the winner. But I like that. I like what we're doing with the tires. It's something new. It's something different to try.
I had a chance to talk with several of the drivers when we were in Kansas, and I was interested to know that they really haven't given much thought on the format. And you were in there a lot of the times when I was asking different drivers. I said, what do you think about the strategy for the All-Star race?
Every single one of them
and every single one of them said, you know what, I haven't really thought about it, and I'm not quite sure how the strategy is. So I thought that was very interesting, but they did bring up the whole thing about the soft tires.
Right.
And some said, it's going to make a difference, but one guy did, Jimmy McMurray, I talked to him, and he said, the soft tires really isn't going to make that much of a difference.
What is the issue of your tire?
The soft tires will not really make that much of a difference in some cases. So we'll see how that all plays out. But I think you are going to see a lot of different strategies there at the end of the All-Star race with those softer tires.
Yeah, and let's throw up that graphic of the tire again, because an Indy car, you have the red tires, right? Mm-hmm. So that's how you tell the difference between a softer tire and the black tires. Well, we have a green letters and yellow letters. I want to know how Buddy Long and Dave Moody are going to be able to tell what kind of tires those are. Well, when they're rolling, you can't hardly tell the difference between the green and the yellow from
back in
distance.
the day when the tires were white lettering, and when they went from white to yellow, you could tell the difference. So I would imagine you're going to be able to tell the difference on these. We'll know in practice later on this afternoon if you can tell the difference.
Green and yellow.
I'm curious
are pretty
at night
similar.
though. I mean, during the day you may be able to see it, but at night, will you be able to tell between green and yellow?
It's going to be difficult.
I imagine everybody's going to wait until the last segment to put those tires on.
Now, if you wait till the last segment, you have to start at the back of the field.
Well, there's only 10 cars.
With the softer tires.
There's only 10 cars.
10 cars? I thought there was 20 in the field. Well, because they get eliminated, right?
Well, then the tires doesn't really make a difference. If everybody's going to wait until the last segment to put on the softer tires, I wonder if you may have some guys use those softer tires for the segment prior and then get into where they need to advance on to the next segment.
Guys like Chris Buescher or Ricky Stenhouse Jr., who know they probably don't have the car to win the All-Star race, or maybe not even a car to make it to the final stage of 10, and they could put on softer tires and try to race their way into the 10 and maybe get lucky or something like that. But or even someone who comes in through the open or the fan vote, knowing that they don't have faster cars, they could put on softer tires early and see if they can move on. It's going to be interesting, I can tell you that.
That All-Star race at Charlotte, though, I mean, I'm going to be perfectly honest. We really
we got some honesty coming.
We haven't seen at Charlotte the exciting finishes that we've had in the early years.
Right.
I mean, think about the 1992 finish. Think about some of those finishes in the 90s. Think about those finishes in the 80s. But ever since they levigated that track and ever since they repaved it, it really hasn't got back to look at Kansas.
I thought last year's race was good. With Logano and Larson?
Logano and Larson racing was last lap or next to last lap for the win.
Mm.
And that was interesting. But yeah, I get what you're saying though. It's that we haven't seen that big moment everybody thinks 1992 when they think of the All-Star race, and until they come across crashing for the win, you don't get that moment that you want.
Yeah, and I think that's what everyone's looking for, and that's what NASCAR's looking for. They're looking for that memorable moment. It's an All-Star race. Everybody trying to win that $1 million, and it's just, I don't know. I just doesn't feel like it's like it was in the early days. I mean, it's just my personal opinion.
25 years since one hot night. That's going to be a big deal this weekend.
Were you alive for that?
1992.
You were born that year.
Yeah, but I wasn't born yet. I was born in July of 1992.
Okay. So one hot night.
Yeah. we had a couple more months to go until I was born.
Yeah.
But anyways,
the world was a much better place.
That was a big championship year too, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. 1992.
I don't remember it.
Alan Kawicki. That was a very famous.
5 drivers went to the final race.
Bill Elliott, Alan Kawicki, and Davey Allison.
Harry Gant, Mark Martin.
Kyle Petty was involved with that.
That was a big deal. All right, let's pick our winners for the All-Star race so we can kind of put a bow on the All-Star race. We can come back in the next segment and we can chat a little bit about our fantasy implications moving throughout the year and maybe our championship contenders. Who wins the All-Star race?
Wow. I wasn't prepared for this early in the show to give you a winner.
Wow.
I defer to Rich.
Martin Truex Jr. I mean,
wow.
There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, going out on a limb right there. Martin Truex Jr. wins the All-Star race. Never won it before.
That sounds pretty good.
I'm going to go Kyle Larson. I'm just going to steal it from you if you're thinking about that. Larson, short race stints, 10 laps, or less. Obviously, the last stage is 10 laps. That man has made a living on racing in heat races and short track racing. I think Kyle Larson wins the All-Star
race. How neat would it be to see Ryan Blaney? Now Ryan's got
to race his way in
with the fan vote or the fan vote. You're exactly right, with the Open. So he's got plenty of chances to make it into the final show. But I think Ryan Blaney's got a very good chance. That team right there is just red hot on the 1.5 mile tracks this year.
I'm going to say Kevin Harvick wins for one reason: Rodney Childers.
All right.
I think Rodney Childers. I think Rodney Childers pulls a strategy move, and Kevin Harvick wins the All-Star race because of it.
The best restarter in our sport probably is Kyle Busch. Do you think he gets a good restart at the end of the race and wins the thing?
He's never been. Well, I say he's never been, but he's not. Charlotte's not his best track.
Right.
No.
And so I don't think Kyle Busch will be your guy.
All right. Well, the Monster Energy NASCAR All-Star race at Charlotte is at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow. Hopefully you join us for that on the Motor Racing Network. Here we're going to another break. We'll talk more about some fantasy implications. We'll eventually play the Under the Rock segment. Apparently, if I don't win today, then I am in big trouble.
No excuse.
This is the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires.
Today, Toyota's featured NASCAR fan is Carrie, Queen of Cakes.
So, Carrie, why do they call you Queen of Cakes?
Well, whenever Toyota wins a NASCAR race, I make a life-size Camry cake.
Really?
Yeah, delicious and made in America, just like the dang car. And with all Toyota's wins last year, it was life-size Camry Cake City. Ooh, even lost a kid at one point. Tried to drive one of the cakes. Had to eat his way out of the drivetrain. Bless his heart.
Let's go NASCAR fans.
Toyota, let's go places. To learn more, visit ToyotaRacing.com. NASCAR is a registered trademark of the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing, Inc. Toyota vehicles and components are built using U.S. and globally sourced parts.
Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires will get you there, whether you're running on dirt or running a job. Our dependable, high-quality tires are the perfect fit for your needs. For unmatched value, selection, and warranty with industry-leading road hazard protection, there's only one choice: Hercules Tires. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com or call 800-677-9535. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength.
When the smoke settles, the entertainment never stops.
And that you're supposed to be having fun.
On race weekends, your favorite NASCAR personality is an everyday superhero.
The Superman colors with Jimmy Johnson.
But when they leave the racetrack, they're just like everyone else.
So I have to challenge myself more to stay balanced with my personal and professional life.
I'm Susie Armstrong. Join me on a daily journey as we discuss the hot topics and engaging personalities of NASCAR Nation. Ned Jarrett's World of Racing, weekdays on the Motor Racing Network.
Let's talk more fantasy racing on the Inside Line. Here's Robbie and Tyler.
We all know the Coke 600 is coming up on Memorial Day weekend, a year after the All-Star race this weekend. But, Robbie Mays, something important is happening in Daytona as well the same weekend.
It is the second annual Country 500 Music Festival, Daytona International Speedway, May 26th through the 28th. The World Center of Racing will become the World Center of Entertainment Memorial Day weekend. Performances by Blake Shelton, Kid Rock, Miranda Lambert, I love her, Keith Urban, Brooks and Dunn, many more. Get your tickets for one or all 3 days, easy for me to say, by visiting country500.com.
Miranda Lambert doesn't even know you exist.
I got a story about Miranda Lambert.
I look good, though.
Tell us.
So I used
Please
to
tell us. I'm waiting.
I used to do security at the PNC Pavilion, it's like amphitheater. That's right up the road here. And my job I was in the cafeteria area, and I'm supposed to check tags. You know, when people come through, I say, okay, you're okay, you can come in. Well, she comes up, she doesn't have her tag. She doesn't have any makeup on. She's got like warm-up pants on. She's just like she rolled out of bed. I'm like, ma'am, I'm sorry, but you don't have the right credentials. You can't come in here. And she says, but I'm Miranda. And I took, oh, gosh. And I was like, I'm so sorry. You can come in now. And she was a sweet girl, but it was just so cute the way she said, but I'm Miranda. Okay.
I didn't recognize you.
I didn't recognize her.
This show has gone off the rails.
I mean, when she puts makeup on, she looks great. I mean, she looks great, with no makeup on, but she just looked completely different.
This is a fantasy show, and Rich's fantasies are.
I'm sorry, I have a story about just about everything.
All right, let's talk about some of the fantasy implications moving forward in the 2017 Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series season. All right, when we go to the Coke 600, of course, another mile-and-a-half racetrack. Then we go to Dover. And then moving forward, Pocono?
Yep.
Okay. Who do you like moving forward in the season right now?
Well, obviously for the 600, you got to look at Martin Truex, who won last year and who won at Kansas last week, and we think he's an opportunity to win the All-Star race this weekend. You got to look at Martin Truex. You still got to look at Brad Keselowski. And guys, for some reason, to me, it feels like Kyle Larson is starting to lose the grip on the top spot in the standings that he had for the first handful of races this season. He's still running up front. He still got a top 10 finish at Kansas last Saturday night. But to me, Kyle Larson is not running as well now as he was at the beginning of the year.
He still has a race lead in the points. You know that, right?
Thank you. I can read.
Yeah.
But it just
So what do you mean he's losing the grip on the top spot?
It seems like he's no longer the dominant car in the garage.
I think they're just working on something.
I think Penske's kind of lost that dominance as well. Even though Brad did manage to come back and finish second at Kansas, I think those guys are still strong. No question about that. But I think as far as who's got the grip right now, I'm not quite sure who that team might be.
Brad Keselowski only has one finish out of the top 10 all year long. He finished 34th, and I believe that was a wreck at Bristol. He finished second at Kansas, which I don't know how he finished second at Kansas. He wasn't even up front all day long. 7th at Talladega, second at Richmond.
How many laps did he lead at Kansas?
That's what I said. He wasn't towards the front.
Yeah, I mean, he had a lot of issues during the race. But what I'm saying is that I wouldn't say they're on top. I guess if you're going to say a team's on top, it would be Penske. But really, I don't think they've got a really a firm grasp of like the dominant team at this time.
And we see that every year. We see a team come out at the beginning of the season, gangbusters, and then by the time we get to May, they always kind of fall back down to everybody else's level. I was really surprised that that Brad was able to get back up to second. I know they had a litany of issues the other night. My earpiece just came out for some reason. I tell you, the guy that surprised me more than anybody else was Jamie McMurray, who also finished in the top 10. I thought he would be a top 15 car. I didn't anticipate him getting a top 10. It's almost like Kyle Larson and Jamie McMurray are starting to even out a little bit more now.
Did you not listen to the show last week when I said Jamie McMurray was probably going to be a top 10 car?
Did you have him on your team?
No.
Did you have him on your
No,
team?
but I told him he's probably going to be a top 10 car.
Oh.
You cannot complain about my team. All four of my top 4.
All I'm saying is that you're telling me Jamie McMurray is going to have a great
We're
run.
in the
but
top
you didn't
7
have him
in
on your
fantasy
team.
points.
Oh, okay.
I just got to get that out
Okay.
there.
As far as going forward, though, we're looking at Charlotte for the 600. We look at Dover and Pocono. Two drivers that I'm thinking of is Kevin Harvick and Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah.
Jimmy Johnson's going to do well at Charlotte, in spite of what Tyler may or may
No,
not go with.
my top 3 going into Charlotte and the top 3 last year, Martin Truex Jr., Kevin Harvick, and Jimmy Johnson. Those are your top 3 going to Charlotte. I mean, that's how it's been the past 2 years.
Right. And then you go to Dover, another place where Jimmy Johnson excels, another place where Kevin
Truex
Harvick
is
excels.
good there.
And Truex does well there as well. And then moving on to Pocono. Again, a place where Truex has won, a place where Jimmy Johnson's won multiple times, and I think Kevin Harvick as well. So, if you're looking at the next 3 races, those are 3 guys that I think you need to keep an eye on.
Yeah, that's
moving
good
forward.
stuff. All right, who's your early season champion? Who do you think wins Homestead?
Wow.
Still early to tell.
It's
way
hard.
Too early.
That wasn't
hard.
my question. I want to know who do you think wins it?
It's really hard to tell.
I mean,
Jimmy Johnson.
Seriously?
Jimmy Johnson. Wow. Landing Castle. Landing Castle. How about that?
How does Landon Castle get into the chase?
I don't know, but he's just as good as any other one. I mean, we're so far away. I mean, you can't really you can't ask that question.
I think right now you seriously have to look at Brad Keselowski as being the top pick.
See, he knows how this show works.
The way that they
have
just
say a name. I got
the way that they have found an opportunity to get, like Saturday night's a great example. It's a championship performance, and if they put everything together down the stretch run, I think Brad Keselowski could win the championship.
All right.
In all seriousness,
Mark it on the wall.
Truex, because it's a 1.5 mile track.
We will come back to the show.
1.5 mile track in Homestead, and who's been the man to beat on the 1.5 miles? Truex. And I see if he can make it to the final round. So there you go again. There's so many variables there. But if he can make it to the final round, he does. He wins. And look at the guy. Look at the bonus points that he's added up this year. Another thing to think about. So there's a good chance he's going to make it to the final round.
How crazy would it be if the Wood brothers and Ryan Blaney win this championship?
I don't think it would be crazy at all.
They're good at 1.5 mile racetracks right now. If he gets to Homestead, watch out.
They were this close to getting the win the other night, which would have securely put them in the playoffs. Seriously though, at this point, anybody can win the championship. Dale Earnhardt Jr. could win this championship right now.
I wouldn't say.
I think it's way too early in the
They
season.
would tear down the stands in Homestead.
It's way too early in the season.
If he wins the All-Star race this weekend, just imagine.
Well,
I don't see, and this is a topic that we can talk about later, but Dale Earnhardt Jr., I just don't think you're going to see much out of him this year. And we talked about that when he announced his retirement. Yeah. You asked me on the show, says, how do you think Dale's going to do for the rest of the year? And I said, I just don't. And since then, what I've said has come true.
Yeah.
Now, one track he did say that he would like to win is the 600, the Charlotte 600. So if you see that he doesn't do well there, then I just don't know if you're going to see him do well anywhere.
He could say he wants to win it, but their 1.5 mile program is just not good enough.
No,
right
it's
now
not. Absolutely. I just don't think
I wouldn't bank
anything's
that
good.
off of, how he's going to be moving forward.
Yeah.
He's had some good finishes at some tracks that he hasn't been, all that great at in the past. I mean, of course, he didn't finish well at Talladega. He was running up front most of the day. I think those type of racetracks, maybe some of the short tracks you look at, he hasn't been good at Martinsville over his career, but he's won recently. So, I mean, he's been good at some of the tracks that have been a little bit different in his wheelhouse over the past couple of years.
Martinsville's been one of his better tracks throughout his career.
No, not really.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
okay.
You
gonna take up the stats here?
Well, he's only got one win there, but there's been a lot of top
He's
5
been
finishes
close several times here.
For Junior at Martinsville. So yeah, I guess if he's going to win one, it may be someplace like Martinsville. But yeah, like
Dover.
you said, like Dover or his 1.5 mile programs, they're not very good right now. So I just don't see Junior doing much this year.
All right. There's some fine insights, some fine hot takes.
I wouldn't call it fine. It's insights on something, but
Robbie Mays and Rich Culbreth, I wouldn't either. All right, we'll come back. We'll play this Under the Rock game, and then we'll also end this show that's kind of gone off the rails. This is the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires.
O'Reilly
Restore lost fuel economy and eliminate rough idle with Lucas Fuel Injector Cleaner. Right now at O'Reilly Auto Parts, buy 2 bottles of Lucas Fuel Injector Cleaner and get 1 free. Clean clogged injectors and increase fuel efficiency with Lucas Fuel Injector Cleaner. Buy 2, get 1 free at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limit supply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
If you or your family love the freedom of swimming any time of year, if you love sharing good times and making great memories, or if you want one of the best total body workouts ever, then it's time to discover the 3 C's of your very own endless pool. The first C is convenience. Imagine swimming year-round in your own private swimming pool, installed indoors or out, just steps away. The second C is comfort. With sculpted spa seats and your own adjustable temperature, you can easily escape the stress of your day. And the third C is cost. Your endless pool is an affordable luxury at a fraction of the cost of a regular pool. And here's a bonus C, choice. Because when you call for your free Endless Pool Idea Kit, you'll receive information on our full line of pools to suit your budget and location.
Call now for free information. 800-283-8089. 800-283-8089.
Let's talk more fantasy racing on the Inside Line. Once again, here's Frick and Frack.
Welcome back to the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires. We're getting ready for All-Star Weekend at Charlotte Motor Speedway this weekend. Of course, we've got coverage of the Monster Energy All-Star Race tomorrow night. Here on MRN, coverage begins at 5:30. I don't know why I just said that, because you're going to say it at the end of the show because you don't have any more notes prepared. All right. You ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Let's hit it. Under a rocker, Tyler.
Do you live your life up under a rock? Or are you Tyler Burnett?
A little nervous about this one. Craig.
Why would you be nervous? You do this
Craig
every
Moore
week.
comes here into the studio. He's the one that throws the rock at me. And
He's
has
getting
said
really good aim.
He said that
He
he
doesn't
don't
have to
even
have
think he would get this one right. So I'm in trouble.
He doesn't.
I'm in trouble.
He doesn't have to have
He doesn't have to have aim.
Yeah.
Just throw it in the general direction. Okay. So you say that we make these too hard by putting up like movies from the 80s and 90s and stuff everybody knows. This is a screen grab from a very famous older movie. It's a children's movie, I'll tell you that much, which you claim to be an expert in. So the characters on the screen, name them, please.
I have
Donald,
to name the characters?
Donald, Daryl, let's cue it up and let's play Under a Rock or Tyler. 30 seconds.
Oh my goodness. Seriously?
Oh, wow.
All right.
You at least know the female.
Yes.
What's the name?
I gotta name all of these little guys though?
Yes, 20 seconds.
Oh, okay, so it's Snow White.
Mm-hmm.
Dumpy. Is that one? Sleepy. Sleepy. I don't know. I know there's a bunch of names like Sleepy and Dumpy and something.
No, there is no Dumpy.
Who are they then, Rich?
Oh, well, no, it's your job.
I have no idea what the little guys' names are.
You got Dopey.
Dopey. Dopey. I thought it was Dumpy.
Dumpy. You got Doc.
Yes.
You got Sleepy.
Yeah.
I got Sleepy.
You got Grumpy.
Grumpy.
Oh, heck, I don't know the rest of them.
Yeah, see, I was supposed to name all of those? How was that easy?
You claim to be a children's movie expert.
Yeah.
I knew what the movie was. I knew it was Snow White. I knew it was a Disney movie. What else do you want to know?
Sleepy, Sneezy, Dopey, Grumpy, Happy, Doc, and Bashful. Throw it!
Ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Oh, I made it so easy for you, yet name 8 ridiculous names.
Well, they're not ridiculous. It's a children's movie. You like those
you
kind
claim,
of movies.
and
It's
I'm quoting
Disney.
here, I know everything about children's movies.
Oh, man, you are. Well, all right.
All right, so your all-star race winners, who were they again?
I'm going to say Truex.
Harvick.
Harvick, and mine was Kyle Larson. I've been picking Kyle Larson a lot lately for some reason.
He really doesn't want you to do that anymore.
Yeah, stop picking him. Did you pick him at California?
Yes, I did.
Oh, you did? Okay, well,
Yes.
you had it.
I hope
you had it
did
right
too
that
as
one
well.
time.
Once again,
Yeah.
a broken clock is right twice a day, except for yours
Actually,
because
and
it's not
I
set right.
forgot to mention, this past week, I actually picked Martin Truex Jr. to win at Kansas on the show, whereas everyone else picks someone from Team Penske.
You know, he finished 20th?
I'm not trying to brag or anything.
Yeah, you know he finished 20th?
Yeah, I did finish 20th.
Yeah, he finished 20th. And he moved up from 172nd or 77th that you were in the points all the way to 72nd. Man, that is great.
We need to clap. We need to clap.
Yeah, very good, very good. Yeah. I dropped a little bit. I was in the top 10.
Tell them about what's on today.
Yeah.
Anyways, coming up today on MRN.com, Monster Energy All-Star Race practice at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Later, it's the All-Star Race qualifying at 6 p.m., followed by the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series North Carolina Education Lottery 200 at 8 o'clock. And since we're making picks, who wins the truck race?
Ooh.
It's one of three.
One of three.
Kyle Busch is in that race, so it might be Kyle Busch. Matt Crafton's good on mile and a halfs too.
No love for Christopher Bell?
No.
Yeah, well, it's one of three. It's either going to be Ben Rhodes, who, man, that was a hard break. Hard break on Friday night.
That was hard to watch last week.
But it's either Ben Rhodes, Kyle Busch, or Christopher Bell.
The Monster Energy NASCAR All-Star Race at Charlotte coming up at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow. Next week, it's the Coke 600. And hopefully you have your picks right for that. There's 4 stages now, and that's a lot of stage points in fantasy.
And a lot of laps led bonus points next week too.
Get ready for that. All right, we'll talk to you next week, and Rich will not be on the show, thankfully, as we go to the Coke 600 next week. Enjoy the All-Star Race on MRN.
You've been listening to the Inside Line, presented by Hercules Tires. Stream us every Friday on MRN.com or the MRN app. The Inside Line is also available on demand in the MRN.com Media Center, on our Facebook page, on YouTube, or download it through iTunes or Google Play. The Inside Line is a production of the Motor Racing Network.